Hello fellow old schoolers. Today we're going to follow Peter's second game in the Swiss of the tournament of Aalborg Electric Eels, the Eel Castle Cup 2021. Now this is the start of a series. We've had a single match where we followed him, so we'll just continue straight after that. And in this particular matchup he's coming up against, well, it is a rather thematic matchup because he's coming up against robots, and robots is like, I don't know if you could call it the parent of the factory control deck which Peter employs. Both decks are very similar, and robots seems like to me to be like an evolutionary step or like a branch of the robot archetype. So we'll have a lot of similarities here, but still there'll be some stark differences as well. So we don't have a deck picture of Peter's factory control, so because he wants to keep it a secret for now. But what we're going to see here is another version of robots, and I've nicked this deck picture from Jacob Dallerup from Copenhagen Juggernauts. So shout out to you, because there was a picture of a robots deck. This is the classical archetype. It is very strong in my mind. It is a tier 1 deck, and it has been dominating several tournaments in the last couple of years. I'm not 100% sure what version of robots we're going to see here, but it is something similar to this. This is like a typical archetype of it, and we see it's sort of like a mid-range deck where it makes use of sushis, triskellions, and 1-2 Tetravus as its creature base. Then it uses copy artifacts to make even more of these very deadly robots. Just for 2 mana you get another triskellion, like a 6 mana drop, or Tetravus. And then it uses animate dead, so you can just like kind of cycle them in, where you just overwhelm the other guy with all these big creatures that you copy, and if they get destroyed, well, you just animate them and they come in with full of counters again. So you can like make a triskellion or Tetravus, copy it, split it out, the Tetravus out into 1/1 creatures, or shoot all the counters with the triskellion, block or attack with it, make it die, animate it, get it back in, more counters, and just continue the pressure that way. The usual archetype here is blue, white, and black. It makes use of the Abyss as a way to counteract the other guy's creatures, because the Abyss will not touch the creatures of robots. It sometimes makes use of spot removal, like Swords to Plowshares. Sometimes it makes use of Icy Manipulators. The version we see here have 4 Icy Manipulators, and you can't do that because you have Workshop to like get them out. Sometimes they make use of Felverstones or Mana Vaults, depending on temperament. Felverstone if you have more like colored spells, and Mana Vault if it's more like a big push with artifact creatures. Sometimes if you splash red into it with fireballs, they can be very good as well. I think the version we're going to see here makes use of Mana Vaults instead of these Felverstones, so slightly different tweak here. This version has a main deck City in a Bottle, because it doesn't have that many Arabian Night cards as an archetype, and many tier 1 decks have Arabian Night cards like the dreaded Serendipity Freed, and also Library of Alexandria. Obviously it's another out against that. Urnam Gens, sometimes you see Jusam Gens at tournaments, though not that many lately for some reason. I don't know why. I love those creatures, but yeah, it's usually Urnam Gens and Serendipity Freeds these days in Curd Apes. Yeah, so that's the robot archetype. It's like a mid-range deck, full of pressure, full of power, copying it, animate dead, continuing the pressure, winning in the mid game, around mid game, through those mid-range creatures, backed up with the Icy Manipulators, Swords to Plowshares, and the Abyss. Discharge, obviously. Now we have the robots. Factory control has many similarities with this. I've gone over factory control in the previous video, so I won't go into all the details here, but it has copy artifacts as well. It doesn't have triskellions, doesn't have Tetravus, it has a few sushis, that's it. The rest of the package has been focused more around counter spells, mana drain, and other stuff to like make you gain control of the board. So it's almost like a hybrid between the deck and robot, but it doesn't make use of the Yimblade Tomes, so I feel like it's more like robots than the deck. But it also splashes red, so it has access to fireballs, And it has access to red elemental blast after sideboard, might come in handy in this matchup, I don't know. Otherwise it's the same colors, black, blue and white, with blue and white being their primary colors, and that pinch of red on top of it. So yeah, it will revolve around removing the other guy's stuff, countering his most crucial spells, and protect your own creatures with your counter magic. Get some factories or sushis out and copy artifact on them, and just try to overwhelm the other guy. So much more of a control route, where robots is much more of a mid-range attack route. So we have an offensive deck that will try to finish the game as early as possible in the form of the robots, and we have a more controlled variant of the same archetype, the old versus the new here. So we'll see what comes out on top. Is it the new school, or is it the old robot archetype that'll pull out ahead here? We'll see. As far as the matchup goes, it is impossible to tell. I mean, they're very similar. Both have copy artifacts, and they can copy each other's stuff. It'll be really nice cards in this matchup, because both makes use of a lot of artifacts, though Factory Control will have more uses out of his copy artifacts, because he can just like ride the other guy's big drops like triskellions and just copy them instead of copying his own factories. So that might be a slight advantage to him before sideboard, and he'll have a slight advantage in that insofar he can counter the other guy's key cards like Ancestral Recall and Brain Geyser and Mind Twist. But apart from that, who knows? I mean, there are a lot of pressure robots can bring to bear here, and the Abyss Factory Control makes use, I think, of 3 the Abyss main deck or something like that, something crazy, and they'll all be dead draws in this matchup, whereas I think this version of the robots we're about to see here only has a single copy of the Abyss, perhaps 2, so that's a slight advantage to robots. So all bets are off. I can't predict this matchup, I haven't seen it before. I think they're pretty evenly matched in my mind, so yeah, to me it's a toss-up, but we'll see how this plays out. Let's get ready for round number 1. And like the previous recording, we have Peter on the bottom here, so we are seeing it from his perspective. And on the top is his opponent on robots, on that universe, that cosmic playmat right there. Just gearing up for the game. I don't know if we know who's on the play just yet. Okay. Yeah, they have a roll off here of 5. Here's his hand. Seems like Peter is mana fixed with a couple of lands and an early Mox. That Abyss though is a dead draw. There's a regrowth and a balance as well, so he could open up with a land into a Mox and a balance just to annoy the other guy. Suppose we might see here. Here's Robot's hand. Also an Abyss that isn't worth much in this matchup, only a single Plains and a Mana Vault. Chaos Orb and a copy artifact. I suppose he could copy the Chaos Orb at some point. That would be rather nifty, but he is a bit mana starved at this point. No, it's a Tundra instead of a Plains, isn't it? Oh, and there's a factory as well, so he has 2 lanes. There's actually some opening shenanigans here as well, with land, Mana Vault, and then a very early Time Twister, if he wants to, depending on who's still on the play here. Okay, starting off with a factory into the Mana Vault. Yeah, it's robots on the play. There's a Tundra out of factory control. And 2 Moxen. So he drew into another Mox here. There's a Mox Pearl and a Mox Sapphire. The best Moxen he can draw into, actually. Oh, another Mox on the side of robots here. So I suppose he could play the Tundra, then play the Mox, play the Chaos Orb, and then copy the Chaos Orb. If he wants to. He can also copy the factory. It does risk a disenchant though. You can time the disenchant so when the other guy plays the copy artifact, and then he can't copy the target. So Then he has to copy something else. Okay, factory coming over here. There's a disenchant on the hand of Peter. He could disenchant if he wants to. Perhaps Roberts is trying to make him tap out. Yeah, okay, disenchanting here. So now he could actually play the Chaos Orb and copy it while the other guy is tapped out. I think he should. Because there can't be a... No, he chooses not to, though. Might have other plans. It will tap the Mana Vault, of course, and that will do damage to him, but 2 Chaos Orbs that early is pretty great. City of Brass drawn into here from Robots. Playing the Chaos Orb. Why does he use the City of Brass here? I have no idea. He could use the Red Mox and not take damage. But that's fine. Just a slight misplay here. And it's always easier to see, I mean, when you're sitting like we are. Factory control really keeping back here. Just blocking threats and seeing what happens. I still think the other guy, the robot guy, should have copied his Chaos Orb in the last turn, and now he could have time twisted. He time walks. Makes sense. Another play here would be cast Time Walk, then cast Time Twister, get a new hand, and take the extra turn. But he has too many good cards in hand, I reckon. So Sushi coming out here, keeping 2 blue mana up untapped for counter spells. Next turn he can use a copy artifact on that Sushi. So now it's up to Factory Control to respond to this threat. Okay, Demonic Tutor here. Now will he try to dig for some removal, or just try to get card advantage? You got 3 main targets here: Ancestor Recall, or a Library of Alexandria, or Mind Twist. The other guy does have 2 blue mana up tapped, so perhaps a Library is best. No, he goes for the Ancestor Recall. No counter spell against him. So, drawing ahead here. Peter is. Let's see if he got something against that Sushi. He copies it though. So he's ahead in cards, and we have a Sushi on each side. No. Untaps again here. Takes it back. Okay. Yeah, that might not be illegal. I mean, he could, but yeah, obviously he knows the other guy doesn't have counter magic, so that isn't why he does it. The other guy would have countered his Ancestral if he had counter magic. Sushi coming lumbering over here. So yeah, what I meant to say is it makes sense that it's alright. Oh, he has a counter spell. Trying to source the Plowshare the Sushi. Getting mana drained. I wonder if the other guy, he must have drawn into that, right? So Sushi lives. That source to Plowshare gets blocked immediately. So I suppose the copy artifact can get down now. So Factory Control at least will have a Sushi of his own. There it goes. So, a Sushi on each side. But there's a Chaos Orb on the side of Robots. So he can Chaos Orb the copy artifact. And then, oh, what's going on here? Another Sushi. Okay, really a Sushi war here. At his end step, the Chaos Orb gets activated. This is pretty damn crucial that he hits. Let's see. Standing up here, slow motion. Ooh, really close. Almost missed here, but it nicks the card. Chooses a copy artifact here. Yeah, he just targets his own Sushi. It's a stand-in for the copy artifact. Taking a point of damage from the tapped mana vault. He can't untap it because he only has 3 mana. So the clock is actually, so far it's on Robots, and he is a bit mana starved. Drawn into it to Travis here, but can't play it. He needs that mana vault untapped until, otherwise he can't play it. copying the sushi himself, and the other guy's tapped out, so we can't see a timed disenchant here. Okay, sushi's just knocking each other out. So now there's one sushi left over on the side of robots. So it's really a sushi battle in this particular round. Balancing here. It will cost Peter a bunch of lands though, and it will also cost him some cards in hand. I think the robot has 3 cards in hand, but he loses the sushi. Robot's going down to 2 lanes. The sushi gets removed, and Peter discards his card. A couple of cards. He was ahead from that ancestral recall, and has the sushi as a final play. That's a good sequence from him. Really pushing in. Both players having not much of a hand left and not a lot of mana. So balancing first and then getting another sushi out. Let's see if he has a Black Lotus here. Yeah, okay, he has an answer to Travis coming out. It's a 4/4 flyer, and it can split out into 1/1 flyers. Silverstone coming down. I thought it was a disenchant, but no such luck for factory control. Looking over, oh yeah, looking over his graveyard, there's a City of Brass on the other side, so the Silverstone can produce any kind of mana. And we saw from the opening hand that he has a regrowth in hand. So what to pick here? He could take the Swords to Plowshares and play it. No, he likely takes an ancestral recall, then he keeps the Underground Sea untapped. So just banking on his deck, providing an answer here. Instead. Yep. Now let's see if he gets what he wants. We can see him here. He has the Swords to Plowshare and a Time Twist and a counter spell. That's very good, very nice for him. Next turn he can Swords to Plowshare to Travis and then keep a counter spell on line to protect the sushi. Attacking here. Yeah, the other guy won't risk his to Travis just yet. Now he's splitting the to Travis up. Yeah, I think Peter here is telling him that if he does so, the counters will have summoning sickness, so they can't attack him. But Robots elects to do it anyway. Splitting up. So there's 4 1/1 flyers here. Now the Travis, the original Travis doesn't have summoning sickness, so it can still attack. I wonder if Robots knows this though. Drawing into an Icy here, still no lands from Robots. Brutal stuff. Okay, using all Time Twister here. Suppose he needs to get that. Oh yeah, that gets rid of the other guy's hand. His counterspell and Swords to Plowshares all back into the library. So what looked like a done deal is actually annulled at this point. The Time Twister makes Peter put in his entire hand. So he doesn't have a Swords to Plowshare anymore, and he doesn't have a counterspell. Let's see what Factory Control drew into. You can see his hand here. Factory, a couple of disenchants and a Swords to Plowshare, so he still has answers against that to Travis. The other guy's hand is an Animate Dead and a Soaring. Finally some mana for him in factories and a workshop, it seems. Yeah, and the Brain Geyser. Though the Animate Dead isn't worth much here because there are no graveyards. They've all been sacked back into the library. But I really like the angle of this camera. We can just like look over these guys' shoulders and just see everything here. So yeah, he can play another land. He needs that Mana Vault untapped ASAP. Probably play the Workshop and then a Sol Ring, right? There are no mana burn in the Swedish format, so yeah, he does so here. Then attack. Okay, he remembers to attack with the original Travis here for 1 point of damage. Okay, drew into a Black Lotus on the side of Factory Control. Factory coming down and a Black Lotus. Now attacking with the sushi. Yeah, the other guy just sacrifices a token. Trying to buy some time here. At least all those 1/1 creatures, they aren't worth an individual disenchant usually. Not in this situation. So they can buy time. Time that Robert needs to get his Brain Geyser going. But first order of business would likely be to untap his Mana Vault. It has done a ton of damage to him so far. And he's down to 8 points of life, so it's getting, yeah, life points are getting pretty damn crucial when you're down below the half point. Yeah, he likely untaps here. Okay, yep, untapping. He still has the workshop online and a City of Brass. Untapping the Mana Vault. Next turn he can Brain Geyser for a bunch. And we know Peter doesn't have any counter magic, but does Robert know this? He doesn't know that. So he likely won't dare risk the Brain Geyser. The other guy's just drawn into a full new hand. There's a blocking factory though. Keep the other guy's factory back. Oh yeah, attacking with the 2 to Travis counters for 2 points of damage. Keeping the to Travis back. Now, it can block the sushi, go to the graveyard, and then he can animate it. That's why he keeps that particular, the original sushi back. He wants Peter to kill it. Then he can animate it and split it up one more time. But it needs to go to the graveyard. And Peter, yeah, he has foreseen it, I think. It's a good play here. Sort of plowsharing it. So, getting removed from the graveyard. Now it only gives a single point of life, and the sushi can get in now. So attacking with the factory and the sushi for 6 points of damage. The other guy can use a point, take a point of damage from the City of Brass, and then activate his factory and block the other guy's factory. And then, no, he can't pump himself. He was played that turn. I suppose he can trade with the factory. But Peter has disenchants in hand. We saw that. He has 2. Yep, there it goes. Disenchanting the factory at activation. So 6 points of damage here. Man, putting Robert down to 2 points of life here. He needs to make this particular round count. What did he get? An Icy Manipulator. Well, I suppose it's better than nothing. Underground Sea coming down. He needs to play that Icy. It can at least take care of one of the attackers, and he has a couple of 1/1 flyers he can keep back. Just to put in the meat grinder. He can actually double block the factory, the opposing factory, if he wants to. Just to trade. So I think that's the play, right? Playing the Icy Manipulator here with the workshop. Anamox, yes. Okay, the Icy hits the table. So it'll freeze down the sushi, most likely. Now should he play the Brain Geyser as well? He probably should. He has made a land drop though, but he can Brain Geyser for 5. Or maybe 4. No, 3. And then use the Sol Ring to tap a sushi with the Icy. Chooses not to though. Likes to keep back. Okay, so he taps the sushi down. The factory comes over. I think he should double block it. The 2 counters. Chooses not to though. Okay, what did he get? It got a City of Brass. Not worth much. Still has that Brain Geyser. He needs that online, I think. I know the other guy likely doesn't have any counter magic. Oh, he would have countered the Icy. Likely. Okay, we see him gearing up for the Brain Geyser here, and it needs to be a huge Brain Geyser with enough mana left for activating the Icy, obviously. Just make him survive. But it needs to be huge here. No, he's making it for 2. I think he should tap the Mana Vault as well. He has a land drop after the Brain Geyser. Okay, tapping the Mana Vault. No. Okay. Yeah, I needed to go back and rewatch this. He only makes a Brain Geyser for 2. I think that's a mistake. He should have gone way in here. That's his one shot. It could have been a really pivotal moment, but okay, he gets a land drop and a mox, so it's a factory. So he can survive for a while, and next turn he needs to untap that mana vault, obviously. He's at 2 points of life here. But let me know what you think. I think a Braingeist for 5 here would have been the play. I would have done, but yeah, hindsight, always 20/20, right? Passing the turn. He has enough mana up to activate the Icy. Oh, there's a disenchant on the Icy. We saw he drew into a City of Brass and an Animate Dead. Yeah, okay. He forfeits the game here. Likely wasn't much he could do. But I think a Braingeist for 5, as said, might have been his only option here. But anyway, that was round number 1. 1-0 for factory control, and we're letting these guys sideboard a bit and having a half-time break just for a short while here. So welcome to round number 2. After sideboard here, let's see what these guys have sideboarded in and how this matchup plays out. Here's the hand of factory control. Yeah, we see a Mace of Ith and a Red Blasts among other things here. Those are in from the sideboard, that's for sure. City of Brass as well, that'll help, but not a lot of mana here. It is a very unstable hand to keep. He needs to draw into a lot of mana, but at least he can survive in the early game with the Mace of Ith and also counter a bit with that Red Blast, so he keeps. Let's see what's on the hand of robots, and if he keeps. Yep, Sol Ring and a Mox and a Mana Vault, so no lands for him, only artifact mana. A couple of Triskellions though, so if he can make it work. Braingeist as well, not the best pick. He takes a chance as well and just keeps. So Mox, Sol Ring, Mana Vault, no land drop. Very chancy game, very chancy keeps from both players, but let's see if it works. Drew into a blue Mox here, that's what he needs. So that's 6 mana now. He can actually play a Triskelion. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. There we go. First Triskelion hitting the table. Getting answered. Oh, the other guy drew into a Felverstone. He can get down that. No, he drew into a Sol Ring. Now he can get down the Felverstone. So a lot of artifact mana on both sides. And that Mace of Ith. Ooh, copying the Triskelion. I think it's very nice. Just to use that now, because we can't have a timed disenchant at this point, so just get the copy artifacts out of the way. So that's 6 points of damage already down. I do think Factory Control has forgotten to take some damage from the City of Brass, at least one. Now he copies one of the Triskellions as well, and forgetting the damage from the copy artifact as well. The other guy untaps the Mana Vault. So actually, we'll keep in mind that Factory Control is at 18 points of life here, not at 20. Okay, both Triskellions coming over in an attack wave here. One gets lost in the maze, and the other gets blocked. I ask him which one does he choose to block. Gives it a good think. He'll likely block the Triskelion, because then he can red blast the copy artifacts if he wants to. Oh, but as he tries to, okay, yeah, as a fast effect, the 2 Triskelions will shoot his Triskelion. Oh, okay, hang on. The robot player is asking if what will happen if he shoots down the other Triskelion with his 2 Triskelions, like doing 4 points of damage to it before the block. And he can do that, but then robots, Factory Control will use a couple of counters to shoot another Triskelion down. So they'll still trade 1-1, and he will lose counters on his last one. So he chooses not to do it. If he would have done so, both Triskelions would have lost counters, and one of them would be shut down as a fast effect. So it's like a cascading effect here. I don't know if it makes sense, but you can shoot with a Triskelion in a response as to the other Triskelion shooting you. Then he puts down a factory here. So still the pressure is relentless from robots here. He needs 2 attackers, so 1 more attacker than that Mace of Ith. So at least he can get in with the mace, with the factory at this point. Then passing the turn back to Factory Control. And he still can't use that Felverstone because the factory only produces colorless mana. So the Felverstone, it can only work if the opponent has colored mana out. Gets a sushi out though. So he hangs on by the skin of his teeth there. Ooh, City of Brass coming down. Okay, so now the Filver Stone is online as well and can produce any mana Factory Control wants to. Another Triskelion. Okay. Probably shoot down the Sushi now. And then attack with the Factory and the... Chooses now too. Okay, blocking Factory coming down here. As I remember, I think Robots has a Brain Geyser in hand. He has enough mana now to cast it, but of course he needs to get out. He needs to untap his Mana Vault first. But still, two Triskelions in the other guy in the face. Okay, using the Filver Stone to cast Regrowth here. It gets countered though. Yeah, he had a counterspell in hand. That's why he elected to wait with that Brain Geyser. Makes sense. So no Regrowth. Okay, no. He regrowth the copy artifact and then he countered the copy artifact, so he had to spend all his mana. Then he shoots down the Sushi. I think Factory Control forgot to take a point of damage from the City of Brass again. So at least in my mind, he's at 16 points of life and not 19 at this point. Okay, Robots untapping his Mana Vault. Now both Triskelions are only 2/2 at this point. But he can get in, I suppose. Okay, copying another one. Just an army of gunslinging robots at this point. 3 of them. And 5 points of damage out there already. Then attacking with both. And Factory Control uses the Mace of Fifth on one of them and one gets in. So Factory Control is down to 14 points of life at this point. But his one lone defending Mistress Factory is online. And can block one of those smaller robots. It might be gunned down for its trouble, but still worth it, I suppose. Might have something else here though. Okay, another Sushi coming out. Could likely play a copy artifact on it, but no, I think he wants to draw the fire. He wants him to shoot the Sushi with all his guns, and then he will likely want to play the copy artifact on one of the Triskelions, the Factory Control. So the Triskelions has almost used up all their gunpowder at this point. We've got 2 1/1s and a single 2/2. But each time they are removing creatures each turn, and have been pretty damn cost efficient at this point. Okay, some huge spell here. That might be the Brain Guys at this point finally getting played here. This is pretty damn crucial, but it's a Red Blast. Sideboarded that in. That is, yeah, just really saving Peter here. I think if that Brain Geyser head was solved, that would be curtain call already. It's a lot of cards, and both players are without much of a hand. So good for Factory Control that he kept that Red Blast in hand for such an occasion. I suppose he could likely copy one of the Triskelions. He had a copy artifact in hand as far as I could tell. So he just, yeah, so he, as said, he drew the fire from the Triskelions on his Sushis, now copying one of the Triskelions. And yeah, I suppose he can actually shoot down 2 of them. And if the final one wants to shoot him, he can shoot right back. So he can trade his 1 copy artifact with 3 Triskelions at this point. But Robots plays with Animate Dead, and Factory Control doesn't, so he can bring in those Triskelions one more time if he draws into an Animate Dead. He untaps his Mana Vault again. Now taps the Mana Vault. Sushi. So yeah, army of robots here. But what can he do? If he attacks, he'll be
One of them will be lost in the maze, another will be blocked by a factory, and the third will be blocked by a triskellion. So attacks aren't really worth it. Oh, I got ahead of myself here. That sushi was countered by Peter. Just took a while to calculate if he wanted to. But he reckoned he was too much of a threat to handle, so electing to counterspell the sushi. And Robot passes the turn. Bit of a stare down contest here. Well, one healthy triskellion keeping the army of smaller cousins at bay here. Okay, so he attacks with both the factory and his copied triskellion. What to do? I suppose he has a mace of Ith to keep an attacker back. I think the other guy should probably double or triple block one of them to probably triple block the other triskellion. Then he has to trade or put it back. No, okay, he gets in
with the triskellion for 4 points of damage.
The copy artifact blocks the factory. Triskellion gets in it, and at the end, the Mace of Ith. At the end step, factory control untaps his triskellion. You can do that with the Mace of Ith after it's done its damage. Okay, getting mind twisted here. I think that was just a Tundra. So both are without steam here. I'm a bit concerned that robots blocked him with a copy artifact. Would have been better to block him with a triskellion, because he can animate that triskellion right back. But he has a Mace of Ith now. And now blocking his factory with his 2/2 triskellion. And using the Mace of Ith on the 4/4 triskellion. So robots seems strong here. Now factory control seems to use his own Mace of Ith just to send his factory back. Now casting Divine Offering on one of the triskellions. Yeah, I think there's a trick you can do here. He casts Divine Offering, and no matter which one he picks, that triskellion can shoot itself. No, if he takes a 2/2, it can't shoot itself. Or can it? Can it shoot itself? I mean, it uses its counter, becomes a 1/1, then shoots it. The trick is here, if you want to destroy your own triskellion before factory control Divine Offering gets resolved. That way factory control won't gain those 6 points of life he would otherwise gain. I think you can. Okay, I went back and just watched the sequence with the audio on. Peter is being a great sport here, and is telling his opponent how to play this so as to avoid the Divine Offering, avoid Peter gaining any life from the Divine Offering. The trick is here that no matter which triskellion he picks, he can shoot his own triskellion, and that way the triskellion will die before the Divine Offering takes effect. Then Peter wondered if he could then shoot the triskellion before that happened. It was all a long discussion, but he can't do that. The Divine Offering will come last. So anyway, Divine Offering fizzles, no effect from that, but triskellion is lost, shot by its pal. And now Sushi hits the table from robot side here, just to bolster the ranks here. But I mean, yeah, great sportsmanship from Peter, telling his opponent how to play this sequence, but it's all in the spirit of old school. Peter has a lot of experience with playing with triskellions. And I think the other guy might be newer to this particular type of deck. Ooh, fireballing here. He has a bit of a dilemma here. He can fireball the other guy. He's down to 10 life. Choosing to fireball the Sushi instead, going for the longer game here. Now attacking with both the factory and the 4/4 triskellion here. Getting lost in the maze. Okay, the other guy activates his mana vault and uses that to activate his factory. Yeah, we're in a bit of a tricky situation again, because the Triskelion can always fire those 3 counters. Sometimes it gets really complex. So he double blocks the final factory here, I think, with both the 1/1 Triskelion and a factory that can be pumped into a 3/3. Yeah, very much agree with this double block here, because otherwise the Triskelion from factory control can just shoot the other guy. But wait, why does he lose the factory? Could tap it to pump itself into a 3/3. Instead he trades here. There's a dice. Okay, I think these guys have gone to time. It's a very long, grueling match, this one. So they have 5 rounds. And once that's done, the guy with the most life wins. And if it's a tie, we go into a chaos of flip off. 4 rounds left. Another land drop. So things are looking good for factory control here. Now divine offering on the... Yeah, it might as well be 6 damage, because it nets factory control 6 points of life here. He has been ahead in most of the game though, in life total. Let's see what final round. Oh, it's a Sage of Nam. I think he sideboarded those in. Pretty cheeky. Wait, that's it. That's time. Man. Well, I think that's game. Factory control took it. This is the first match on this channel that's ever gone to time. So grueling, long game with a lot of robots and a lot of tricksy plays here with those Triskelions. I think we'll see some of the sideboard cards here. Yeah, some spot removal. He took a balance in. And some Swords to Plowshares in, it seems. And a mace. Yep. Makes sense, a mace can't be countered. And the other guy kills with creatures, so I suppose it makes sense. Yep, so that was it. 2-0 for factory control. So far, these last 2 games, I don't think he's lost a single round. And I thought, well, actually, I think this matchup is pretty damn close, actually. It's just really the luck of the draw. And I think so far, but time will tell. I mean, we need to see more games with this factory control archetype to really gauge its strength. It might be a revolutionary. I mean, if it can tangle with robots consistently and win consistently, it has definitely kind of revolutionized old school. So yeah, that was it for this second match from Peter. As said, I really dig this camera angle. I don't think we can recreate it in later on, because it was a bit difficult to set up, but I really like that we can see their hands like this during the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back with some more games once I get them from Peter, and I'll likely get some more games in of my own in the not too distant future. So, like if you enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.